Hello and welcome back to Kaiserreich. On the 15th of November, 1947, the Second Weltkrieg was officially determined to be over. And, with it, the Socialist Republic of America will liberate as many nations as possible. So first, let's go through the list. We have 17 nations to take stance on. The annexation of Armenia. In 1947, Armenia was liberated. Azerbaijan as well. The Baltics were divvied up and liberated as individual countries. Anytime now, Kaiserreich. The Don Cuban Union, liberated. Now, these countries will remain inside our sphere of influence. They will remain as puppets, so to say. But we're only doing that so that we can sort of get a complete or at least somewhat complete tally of what nations would eventually sort of be aligned in our faction should we experience a sort of Sino-Soviet split-esque situation, which I will get to at the end of the video. Now this will take a little while, but so I'll talk about the split then. So the way I imagine this going down, see Galicia. Should Galicia be Polish or should it be? Poland is ours, right? Poland is ours. I actually don't know if culturally speaking, Galicia should be its own country and whatnot. I think we'll give it to Poland, simply because of my own complete ignorance on the subject. Transcaucasian Socialist Republic or Georgian Republic? I think we'll do the Georgian Republic. Otherwise we'd have to give out some, or give some of this land to Georgia. Kurdistan and an Arab state in Baghdad. Yeah, we'll have to do that. The Kurds need their own land. I envision this world, since we have somewhat of an ideological difference between... Well, currently we are syndicalist, but we're mostly Socialist Party, Radical Socialist. Considering there's a strong difference in ideology between our friends here under Eric Blair, George Orwell, the Maximists, as well as the... Oh my god, the anarchists are in the Commune of France. Maybe we can actually turn them around. So this guy is meant to be Benito Mussolini, but he was, removed from the game in a patch or after I started the playthrough. But because of the whole totalism thing, I believe that we will experience a thawing of relations similar to what happened to the relations between China, the People's Republic of China, following People's Republic of China and the Soviet Union following the death of Stalin, and the efforts of Nikita Khrushchev to liberalize the Soviet Union, and following the denunciation of the purges and the various repressions under Stalin. Now, fate of northwestern China, we need to, let's see... Yeah, we'll liberate Uiguria and Xibei Sanma. Once Khrushchev, in order to sort of consolidate his own power and stuff, and distance himself from the image of Stalin when he denounced Stalin's policies and his especially his economic policy. That caused the Chinese to sort of oh my god, the music stops every time I do this. The Chinese, especially Mao, was not very happy about that because Mao had sort of built his socialist identity on importing Stalin's economic policies and his political policies to an extent to China. And because of that, a denunciation of Stalin's policy was a denunciation of Mao's policy. So, to Mao, that was kind of problematic. Now, we're probably going to see something similar with the Union of Britain, especially, who are Maximist, and Italy. Maybe the Communist France will you know, become quote-unquote revisionist and turn to our side. But we're probably going to see something similar where we, following the war, go through this, like, peacetime period of liberated Soviet Russia, like, looking inwards to ourselves and trying to you know, figure out what should our, like, ideology and our, like, our values and whatnot be. Now the war is over, we need to rebuild society and restructure society for a society that is built for peace, not for war. Because our society, our socialist America, was built through warfare and through bloodshed. And we need to envision a world in which that is no longer necessary. Because there are like 105 other states here and whatnot. It's gonna take a while. Now, that cooling, that split, I imagine will probably not fully occur until at least the 1950s, mid-1950s maybe, or early 1950s, and then you have the rise of the third block, which would be if we imagine the first block is us, which you could imagine some people would count the Communist France, Union of Britain, and Socialist Republic of Italy as part of the first block as well. And then you have, I guess, maybe the second block is Hyderabad, Japan, Brazil, similar nations who are either democratic but capitalist, or some form of like flawed democracy, and so on and so forth. And then you have the third block, then the developing world, potentially uniting in an African-Arab axis type of thing, like we sometimes see. We'll have a look at the alliances once all this business with liberation is done. Such a such an exhausting business it is. Oh my god. Imagine, like, my computer is basically on fire right now. Worst part is, I don't necessarily even have a bad computer. Except for, you know, one thing, my graphics card, which is probably on its last legs at the moment. I'm gonna have one of my old graphics cards sent down to my apartment here from where I used to live, so that I can test if that is the case. You probably should not have noticed anything. The graphical oh my god, I can't speak. The graphical glitches are very slight in games like God of War 4, but if we start playing a 3D game with a lot of moving stuff around, it gets horrible. And I believe it will absolutely murder fuck the bitrate on any sort of like live stream or something like that of a game that it has a very dense picture, like dense images, like visually dense scenes and whatnot. I wonder if no, we might actually see, like, so if the Communist France doesn't turn back to or turn to our side, we might have seen like an Iron Curtain or something, or like several. You'd see an Iron Curtain between Spain and France, and then between France and here, right? So like an iron curtain going like that. Well, hold on, like that, I guess. Oh my god, you can probably not see my my cursor because the game is like, yeah, the game is technically in like Windows thinks it's frozen mode. So my cursor has turned into a spinny disc. Wonderful. There we go. Okay, I was about to say I'll pause the recording and then keep going, which I probably should have done to begin with. Because you can do that in OBS now. It's fucking great. The annexation of Sweden. But yeah, the Iron Curtain I was referencing is probably going to be drawn somewhere like this, I think. Should the should the Communist of France not turn to our side. The annexation of Sweden, release a Republican Sweden. Only a few more left now. Oh boy, what is this? We might have to clean this up. Yeah, we need to release Ukraine, so we need to give this stuff away to Ukraine, I think. Like if it doesn't automatically go to Ukraine. Time to Tuva as well. We'll have a look at all of these nations, or at least most of them, after this liberation is done. Transamur, we're not going to give it to our Russian friends. We will give as many nations as possible self-determination, and we will in fact not do what the Soviet Union did post-World War II, in which the Soviet Union installed puppet regimes, like what we're technically doing right now, dictators in place, and would violently crack down on any attempts at divergence from the Soviet ideology and the Soviet party line. As, you know, you would see with, for example, Hungary and stuff, and Czechoslovakia with the sending in the tanks. Bit of White Ruthenia. I mean, they're probably not even gonna get liberated, right? Because... yeah. I got fucked up by releasing the Soviet Union first, but hold on. Let's fix this. So what are the Ukrainian cores? That's one. Yeah. Mark State. Well, this is Ukrainian and Belarusian. Maybe I'll give these to... well, I can't give these to Belarus because it doesn't exist, so I'll give them to Ukraine. Like how... oh, no, man, yeah, it doesn't list the Soviet claim because of... their ownership of the tile. Problem right now is that all these guys are going to be syndicalist and not radical socialist, because our current party in power was radical socialist, but I imagine they're going to be a mix of both. Like a healthy mix of both. Is Bryansk a Ukrainian state, or is that Soviet? Okay, so I think we are... yeah, we're good for Ukrainian stuff. Then the rest is just Soviet. Yes, indeed. This one might not be Ukrainian, but... hold on, let me check. It's kind of awkward how you can't tell... yeah, no, it is Ukrainian. Mark state, and send it back. Is there anything else we need to clean up? Finland doesn't have claims on this stuff apparently, so guess I won't give it to Finland. Alright, let's start looking at the various nations. We still have the Norwegian Union under Einar Gerhardsen, independent fully. We have the Swedish Commune under the Revolutionary Committee. We have Finland under Kullervo Manner. You have the Sovnarkom, Soviet something commune, I don't know. You have the Combined Union under generic leader. Republic of Ukraine under Nikita Khrushchev, the man we mentioned earlier. generic leader, Karl Liebknecht. Quite famous man, that is. In fact, I'll probably be referencing Karl Liebknecht in a presentation for university on the subject of the Soviet perspective on fascism. Let's see, what else do we have here? Georgian Republic. He looks, his face doesn't look generic, but his trait says otherwise. Generic. How about Kurdistan? Qazi Mehmed. He does not seem generic. Socialist Republic of Persia, we've got Jafar Peshawari. And then we have Yusuf Salman Yusuf. Combined Mashriki Syndicates. CSA, but for Iraq. Oh, this isn't right. This most definitely isn't right. This all should go to the Don-Kuban Union. Or the, sorry, this... Actually, yeah, we'll give it to the Alash Autonomy, honestly. Who cares? They're not ours at all, but, this probably should not have been taken by us in the peace treaty. It should have gone to someone else. Or, like, they would have just rushed down and taken this land. When the Russians capitulated, it doesn't make any sense for us to have that land in the middle there. Mongolian People's Republic, who's in charge there? Generic leader. So what else do we have to investigate? Nothing much. Did we check Poland? Yeah, we did. Alright. Well, so, just to reiterate, we're seeing a world divided in between the first bloc, the Third International, which also technically consists of two blocks. You've got the Cairo Pact as the second bloc, I guess, and then the third bloc, or perhaps that is the third bloc, depending on how people want to sort of conceptualize this. And then you got the Hydra, AOG, Japanese, and Brazilian and all that, like those major nations in each of their parts of the world, ruling a sort of independent, still capitalist alliance, I suppose. Let's have a look at the Japanese government, actually. Yeah, market liberals, Hyderabad, social conservative, authoritarian democrat. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's a corporation, basically. And Brazil, social democrats, yeah. So Brazil basically ruling the entirety of South America. Japan ruling the Pacific, Hyderabad, the Indian Peninsula, and then perhaps we'll see something like South Africa aligning with them. Nations like Iceland becoming a conflict spot, considering its tactical or its strategic position, and the fact that it is probably aligned with, yeah, these guys. Germany, Asia, and all that. The capitalist third bloc, or second bloc. Like third world, first world, second world, those terms, they're completely meaningless. They mean literally nothing. They're very silly terms, made up because of, the way we conceptualized the world in the Cold War with, you know, the West versus the Soviet Union, second world, and of course any nation that was non-aligned was part of the third world, basically, and that's almost all it meant, really. It's very silly. It like completely misconceptualizes the whole like relationship dynamic between the Soviet Union and the West and all the quote-unquote unaligned nations who very often would try to play both sides and just try to get the best deal out of both sides and stuff. Because, you know, they're smart there as well, so. But anyways, I think that about covers it in terms of like the geopolitical situation. Do I see crises arising in the near future? I do. Iceland, for example. Perhaps like a missile crisis, like a Cuban missile crisis in the 70s or something, 60s. And you have the Iron Curtain, I guess, in Europe here, as a possibility. It does not necessarily have to happen. Even stretching up across Norway, perhaps, if they decide to side with these guys, though I doubt that. the Norwegians would not be ideologically opposed towards that. They would be siding with us. I do also think there is a distinct possibility that some nations would perhaps change over the course of time through revolution or through politics inside the nations themselves to adopt ideologies similar to the Totalists. They might even send out subversives to try to subvert the politics of the various countries of our political bloc. So we would perhaps have situations where the Socialist Republic of America is compelled to send in military to try to stop that, or have to allow the nation's self-determination. That would be a sort of crisis inside of the Socialist Republic of America, where you essentially see, which way is this country going to take? Are they going to go down the path of the Soviet Union, becoming repressive, becoming authoritarian and all that? Or will they give these people true self-determination and allow them to forge their own path forwards towards socialism? Currently, I'm hopeful that it is the latter, but a lot can happen in like 20 or 30 years. A war with Japan is unlikely, considering the amount of resources and the amount of people we control. I don't foresee any major wars, but perhaps like proxy wars in the Netherlands or Philippines and stuff like that. Korea, for example. Korea, there might be a communist uprising in Korea. Might even perhaps be a communist uprising among the Muslims in the Hyderabad here. Anyways, that is about it, I think. I don't think there's anything else I can add at the moment. So that's a little bit of discussion. I don't really have the voice or the time to do a full scripted read or not voice acted, but I can't really perform basically with my voice in the state that it is at the moment. I can just speak and barely so. So this is what we're going to call the final episode. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun playing this. I do not for 1 second regret having to reboot the series and whatnot. I do regret sort of like the meat grinder in Russia and all that. That is never fun. Late game Hearts 4 isn't all that fun. Next nation that we'll play is still as of yet undetermined. I'm open to suggestions, but it's probably going to be something smaller. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Actually, no. Hold on. Oh my god, you can hear my voice breaking. I won't see you guys next time. Yet. First, I've got to thank these wonderful people for supporting me on Patreon, and special thanks to Angry Sputin for supporting me at the $5 tier. Now I can see you next time. Goodbye.